podcast. This is great, right?
Yeah, it's great. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the X-Foils podcast. We're here again with Frankie Frankster and Walt.
They don't have to know that. They don't have to know that, bro.
What? His name?
We're professional.
I'm talking about the episode we did a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. The episode we did a long time ago with the amazing shaper here in Maui in his shaping shop.
Francisco Maffei, Frank Foilboards.
Frank Foilboards, baby.
I don't even know my name anymore. I'm so burnt out.
Did you shape that board this morning?
No, 10 minutes ago, yeah.
It's amazing. His construction is so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to be efficient.
Nice. So in Maui, in the shop,
Yeah,
Mastercraft right now.
With-
You're going to give us
with
a
the
class.
new toys.
Yeah, so we've been we've been going back and forth all summer working on some new boards that Frank's been doing. He's been letting me ride them a little bit, and it's pretty exciting. We got to see this thing get unraveled at AWSI. Yeah, that's the word, AWSI. So we got to see this unveiled at AWSI, which is the mini dart, and we've got the dart coming out that Frank produced for AWSI. So thought it'd be a great time to kind of get together. Hopefully these boards are going to be hitting the market soon and talk about like what went into these shapes. Obviously, everybody was frothing about your Downwind shapes last season. I think that's kind of transitioned into, more of a surf sup and the Parawing board. So yeah, that'd be a great time to reconnect.
Yeah. No, we because I made a couple of mid-lengths for you last winter, right, for Puerto Rico, and then I think you guys were Parawing. Yeah, you guys were Parawing already. You still got the first BRM pretty much as soon as it came out. You guys were all on those.
We could call it parawinging. I would say it was more trash bagging at that point. I think now we are officially parawingers. Like we do something that looks like a sport. Then we were just kind of flailing through the trash bag era of parawings.
Yeah, I remember. We did the mid lengths. It was more for. I think we maybe talked about parawing a little bit. It was mainly like winging, light wind, and prone in Puerto Rico. And then as you guys got more into it, and I saw people here, and I just didn't have time to get in the water with it because I was so busy getting all the race sports done. And then Walt, he reached out. I was like, we should change a few things and make it more Parawing-friendly. And so we did 3 or 4 different prototypes, and then Walt was in Hood River all summer. So I was like, hey, I'll make a prototype. I'll send it to you. Try it. You tell me because I don't know how to Parawing yet. You've been going a whole year. You pretty much all you do. So give me the feedback. and then version 4 came out to be what that went into production with AWSI. So worked out really good.
It was awesome.
How did that come out at the show? Like, how was the feedback? Did anybody say anything that they would change or?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of anticipation, but not much. Because we had a couple prototypes early on in the year going around, but they weren't. There's nothing like this. People knew there was something coming, so when they showed up, they showed up at 3:30 the first day of AWSI, and then they're out until I think Evan was at the tent till like 7:30 waiting to get the boards back. So I think, and then the second and third day was windy. The boards are gone all day, so I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think when you see the boards right at the AWSI, like they were so well crafted and light and beautiful. Like people just grabbed them, took them, and ran. And also, this is the first AWSI in years we've had really good conditions, right? So I think when people got a hold of a board they liked, they weren't giving it back. So yeah, they were pretty much gone the whole show, right?
Yeah. It was really positive feedback. Everybody liked them, and I was hoping to get some more back to Maui, but couldn't.
You mean more darts?
Yeah, I was gonna bring more of these first productions back, so I had a few boards for people to try, but all I could put my hands on was the 60-liter. Everything else was like,
oh yeah, they got stolen. I remember seeing just the week after, I kept seeing people riding around in Hood River with them and be like, dude, where the fuck did you get that thing?
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have that yet. But yeah, I guess lots of people got their hands in the AWSI bucket, right?
Yeah.
Really? People took them?
Well, it's still the distributors guys that were like around there.
Could have been you,
Damn.
Dylan. Could have been you.
No, I mean I'm not in the distribution center, but I am a dealer for Axis now.
That's right. Now that these boards came out. So yeah,
Actually-
you want to talk a little bit? I mean, let's talk about kind of what went into this, right? What makes a great Parawing board, right? What were the things we learned about Downwind boards that kind of led to this? And where does this sit? Because obviously a Parawing board is kind of this hybrid of a prone, wing, downwind. We're pulling a little bit from all three. And like, yeah, what was your thoughts as you kind of came to this shape?
Yeah, so we did, because the first mid lengths didn't have a lot of volume on the nose, and that's the one thing you were telling me was like, oh, I need more support on the nose because Parawing, you're using the board to get up more than like winging, let's say.
And the pull is directly forward. Right?
Yeah,
like
it's
you don't
like
have this ability to like lift as much. It's kind of pulling you and dragging you forward.
It's like
you gotta project.
It's like horizontal, maybe even like down in the water a little bit. So you need that extra nose to volume on the nose of the board. When you pump, instead of just sinking, it gives you like feedback and it lifts up. So we worked on that, and then the bottom two, the mid lengths I made you.
This is why you got to watch the YouTube video so you can see all the things Frank's showing you on the board right now.
Wait, did you directly retract from that design that you did for Walt that he had over the winter? He was mainly using it for foil drive, really.
Yeah.
And then we started Parawing, and he was using it for Parawing. Did you pull designs from that and then like change it, or did you just redesign completely?
It was, I mean, it's pretty much a whole new design, but I think
some of the nose displacement, nose shape stuff, but
just the nose displacement is similar. The rockers it's pretty much a whole new board, but that was like, I was using that as a reference, and Walt was like, okay, well, this kind of works, but it doesn't. So we kept what worked and then changed everything else. So pretty much all we kept was like this much.
Yeah, we kept like the dims and the volume stayed the same, but the shape evolved.
Yeah, so the bottom we made, the bottom is, the flat section is wider compared to the mid lengths you had, because what you're finding out is that when you pushed on the board, you didn't have any feedback because it's such a small literage and small dimensions that when you push on it, you don't have a bunch of support. And doing that, we found that when you push, you get feedback from the board, even though it's small. It gives you more area.
Yeah, when we had all the displacements in it, what would happen is you'd push and then you'd displace all the water, and I'd lose the momentum we had on planing. So this kind of allows you to build that surface tension, and then as you build it, you can like press off it and release, just the same way you kind of pop up with a wing foil on a smaller board.
Yeah. Do you hear the noise too much? Should we go in the other room?
No, it's fine. It'll tune out once we edit it. Yeah.
Dude, we got AI, dude. They won't even hear that. There's a CNC machine shaping amazing boards. Probably another Frank board below us right now. Just started ripping. Yeah, it's Frank's board.
Well, where is the shop? This shop?
Oh, the shop is at the Parawing Cannery in Haiku.
So this is where all the goods are, right? KT's here. You got
it's down that hallway.
Yeah, down the hallway.
Cool. And that's your own little space that you've got right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're all under the same roof. But yeah, it's my board's getting milled downstairs. So
it's an incredible amount of shaping and manufacturing talent in this building, right? Like this is kind of like the epicenter of surf sports in Hawaii, really.
Yeah, for the last
Quattro, wind sports, everything comes out of this cannery, which is crazy to see this building kind of. And walking through the halls, you I ran into Sean downstairs, right? It's cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this, like we said, so it's not, you're trying to get more surface area for the volume that you have, because the volume isn't supporting you as much, or the dimensions like a SUP. And so that's why we moved away from full displacement, and then wider tail again for the area, so that when you're trying to get planing, you got something that holds you up. But the tricky thing, at least for me, was trying to have a wide tail and keep the volume on the nose and keep the tail like sinking, because you want the board to sit nose up, because as soon as the Parawing starts pulling, it's trying to dig you in the water. So at least for me, was the tricky part, because I knew we wanted like wide tail for the planing, but I had to keep the volume down, like get creative with trying to get the tail wide, but not with the kind of volume.
Yeah, so what you ended up doing was we kind of got this pinch tail where it slims down to like a point. And then the other piece of the whole whip was like we were trying to keep so the distance between your deck and the connection to the mast plate was as minimal as possible. So we didn't end up with a big corky board, right? Like it was always about how do you move volume around, put concave on the deck, flatten out the tail so it just doesn't get, because like whenever you do displacement, at least the last shape, it kind of wedges up into the tail because you can't help it. Like the volume builds up there where the box is. So this kind of solved that. And I think you ended up with this kind of, I mean, it's going to end up being a great mid-length prone, wingboard, parawing. It's kind of like the Quiver killer in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's a one does it all. I mean, the bigger size, this goes up to 100 liters. So you could sup it. Like I'm going to try and sup the 100 in the waves. But yeah, the 6, because you ride the 60, we'll maybe make a bigger one for Kaha here. But even if it's 60, 75, you can still prone it, you can wing it, you can Parawing. It's a mid length that's good for everything, but it's more refined for Parawinging, just so that it makes that.
Well, because like this nose shape, right? Like this is going to work fine proning. Do you need all this volume in the nose proning? Not really, but the deck still will perform well and it'll paddle great. But you definitely needed this for parawing.
Are the tracks carbon?
Carbon? Yeah, full carbon. Yeah.
No, the tracks.
Oh no, the tracks are not carbon. But
okay,
I think
I'm just thinking about
they're
foil
made
drive.
of unobtainium.
It's just plastic. But what they did, well, you had no problems with your custom for the foil drive. So I think how they do these boards, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be foil drive compatible, because they're not. And if the customs work, I don't see why these don't, because they're built pretty much the same way.
So tell us about like the way that you went to the factory and helped them with the process, because your boards are very special. But then these came in also pretty light for being a production board. And I guess you had told us before, you know, the way that you went in there and helped, just because there's so many hands going on these boards, and how you helped them with the process, not to completely change it, but to maybe make it as close as possible to get the construction right for your board.
Yeah. So when I went with Adrian, I think it was last October. We went to the factory in China together, and you know, I went there with my idea was I'm gonna show them how I build them, and then that's it. And then Adrian, as I was, we met in Singapore. No, sorry, we met in Hong Kong with Adrian, and spent the night, and then we took a train to the factory. And we're talking, and he was warning me, he's like, you know, this is different. Like you'll see, you gotta kind of see how it works, and work with that. You can like change it all around. So I was like, okay, well, I can change a little bit. And then when I got there, you realize that he's right. It's a whole different approach that they have, and the quality is good. You just need to understand how they work and how you want your product to be, and find a way to get to your target construction or whatever is that you're trying to get through their ways of doing it. Because if you change completely what they're doing, it's gonna take 8 to 10 months before they even get it and do it how you want it. So the first day, I remember we just watched them. They were building some. I think they were building a batch of blasts, access wing boards, and so I just watched them, kind of talk to the factory guy, and then the next day is when we're gonna start like doing the process. And all I did is I told them, like, look, this is how pretty much we just change how they lay up the carbon and how they do the patches, because we wanted them light and strong. And I'm like, well, I know how to make it light and strong. Let's just try to transfer that over to how you guys do it. Because, you know, for me, it's just me working on a board from start to finish. There to have, 10 guys So
yeah, it's a factory. So each guy does a different step, and then you got to create your SOP, and then they do the whole thing.
So then you just gotta pick the guy. Oh, that guy's good with the tape. That guy's good with the squeegee. That guy's good with the scissors. And then you tell them like, "Oh, you do this, you do that, blah 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 blah."
I'd be the squeegee guy. Squeegeeing all day.
I like tape.
And then so at the end, after when we were there for a week, pretty much in the factory all day, and then when we got the first boards and we put them on the scale, and then we're like, okay, yeah, we're happy with it, and worked out good. And John, the owner of the factory, he was happy because he's been trying to get them to do things a different way for a long time, but they weren't listening to him. And then I guess they listened to me and Adrian.
It's his just smooth Italian, and it's the glasses, right? It's the glasses, dude. They're like, look at this guy's fucking glasses. This guy's serious. I better listen to him. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Oh, and because I think how I showed him how to do ways was actually, at first they were a little resistant because it's a different process from what they were used to. But then they realized that it was actually easier for them to do it than how they were doing it before. So I think that's why they embraced it. And the boards came out. They're all the production boards are light, they're strong. We had no
what's the weight on this 60?
Oh, good question.
I think it was wasn't it 8 and a quarter or something like that? Because it was like a pound heavier than the one you made me at 60, which was 7 and a quarter.
Yeah, so it's about, I think I have a picture. But we can put it on the scale there. It's about a pound heavier than the customs. So yours was 7.5. This is maybe like 8 and a half.
Yeah, and I think weight is one of those things when it comes to the mid-lengths and Parawing boards specifically that really does matter. Like I've been trying a ton. I tried a new one yesterday. It was a beautiful shape, but man, I felt that swing weight difference because there's the other piece where like with a Parawing board on takeoff, with wingboards, you kind of, and you change my foil all the time, Dylan. Whenever we ride, it's like I always want to push the foil forward so it feels shorter. And you really need to have it pretty far back in the box just because of how planing works and how the takeoff is. So like if you have a weighty board, it really changes the feel, right? Like you put all that weight out at the nose and that swing weight just changes the way the board feels. Whereas like when we can dial that weight down in the board, all of a sudden it feels like you cut a foot of length off of the board and it performs like a 4.5 instead of a 5.5. And that's kind of the magic. And I think, for a production board, I mean, I've never felt a production board quite this light. Typically, they're so worried about the construction and long-term use and breakage that they end up beefing them up. And I mean, I've had great success with your construction as far as longevity and all the boards you've made me. And this board's light and awesome. And I mean,
mainly like, when you pick up the board, you feel like the heavier part is obviously where the boxes are because it's more reinforced than the boxes and everything. So as long as your nose is light, especially for Parawinging, and you see like this whole section is nose
exactly.
And like you said, you don't wanna be too far forward because you need that support to get going, so you can't really get away from it. And
go ahead. Hey, work's got to happen. Business is in action here. Boards are being made. Invoices are being signed. This guy's super important. You don't even know who he is. He's super important.
We do know
legend
who he
right
is.
There. Legend. What's up, buddy? I think it's top secret.
It's also, the centerpiece. You'll still be golden.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Oh, you're good, man. So just shapers being shaperly. That was like some math. There was some math happening.
That's Mark Nelson. That's who I'm renting the shop from. So he runs the CNC machine. Used to build up all the bunch of windsurf race boards back in the day for all the pros and world champions. So he's a good guy to pick his brain.
Yeah, dude's been making boards for probably 30 years. Yeah.
He's the man. That guy. I'm really happy to have him help me with that.
That's dope.
But so the nose, like we were saying, like, you want to stay further back. So if the board is heavy, it's nose heavy, you can get away with it. It's not like, I'm gonna move forward because then it's not gonna work. So.
And we talked about them being heavier than the custom. So if you get a custom from Frank, obviously you could DM him and get in the wait list for a custom. But part of the weight difference too is the fact there are inserts, right, on this, and that's going to add probably half a
Yeah.
pound, and then you got another in
Yeah,
just
and-
construction.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean,
and
still a super light board at
Yeah,
eight.
and they still, the production is still, they beef it up a little bit just because it goes to from the pro guy to like Mr. I just bang it on the concrete all day long. So you gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, no, we're super happy with the weight and how they come out. They're, I mean, everybody, all the people that came by AWSI was like, hey, pick it up, and then they'll pick it up. I'm like, oh wow, is this like? Did you make this? I'm like, no, this is how the production's gonna be. And now it's been, almost
Yes,
a year.
yes, you did make it.
Came from right here.
Came from in here, not from these hands. So, but yeah, they've been working on this construction process for almost a year now. So they refined it. So they're getting, it's getting better. It's getting lighter. Even the subs, now they come out a little lighter than what they first were.
So this will be called the mini dart, correct? And then let's talk about the dart then, which is going to be the surf sup version of kind of like really it's somewhere between this shape and the downwind race, right?
Yeah. So the dart, we thought about it as I always wanted to try, shorter boards. I always do like race season, and then day after race season, I'm like, I'm gonna make a shorter board just to practice and like go in the waves. And then it came up to also when we're talking to Adrian and Evans, oh, let's make a board that it's easy to travel with, more beginner friendly, or just for the waves or lakes, downwinding in the lakes, and a board that people can still maybe wing and power wing if they want to. So like a light wind, one board does it all kind of thing. And so we did the dart that is similar shape to this, like wider tail, little wider shape overall, and shorter. So
And by wider overall, you're meaning, when you're looking at his race boards, they're in the like 16 to 17 inches wide, whereas these are in the more like 18 to 19.
18 to like, yeah, 19 and a half, 20 is the biggest one. So it pretty much from the Mako, the downwind board, go down a foot in length and like add a couple inches in width, and you get the dart. And then the mini dart is about the same width, but you shorten it another foot. So it's like in the 6 foot range, from 5'6" to 6'4", and then the dart is from 7 to 7'6", and then the downwind boards are from 8 to 8'6", 8'8". So it all kind of jumps down a foot in length and gets a little wider. But yeah, the dart too has been fun little stuff. No, nothing like extreme like the race boards. It's just more like a user friendly. I don't want to be like racing.
Yeah, it's like your first sup,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're getting into sup, it's a little more stable. It's a little less length to manage. It's obviously not going to build speed as fast as the race board, but it's also pretty challenging being on a 16-inch wide 9-foot board if that's your beginning of the sport.
It still has good acceleration. It's just, no matter what, when you go shorter in the sup, even if you keep the same displacement shape as the race boards, you lose a foot of length. You're not gonna be gliding as much as a longer board. Like if you even the A4 production, it's not like a 9.4 custom for a channel crossing. Like it's good for A4, it's really good, but if you take that and you stretch it out an extra foot, it's like
Even more.
it's like cheat code.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants a 9.4, so that's why we picked that number.
What do you think? Is it still easier to get up on the Mako versus a dart? Like if you're a beginner?
Well, the difference is if the thought behind it too is like if you're a beginner, you're probably riding a bigger foil anyways, so you don't need to reach that speed.
It's more of like an ollie up, right?
Yeah, but then it depends also like what people are looking for, because I have people reach out, they're like, oh, I want to flat water all day. I'm like, okay, well then you still need like a skinny longer board, because if you flat water, well, it depends what foil you're flat watering. If you're flat watering at 2,000 square centimeter foil, it's like, yeah, you can do it with whatever. But if you're trying to get up on smaller foils, that's when the longer, narrower board make more sense. And also, if if the rider has the ability, yes, if the rider has the ability to stand on a narrower board, the longer, narrower board, even for learning, it'll be better. But then if you know already, if you know you're struggling with balance, the board is not efficient if you can't stand on it and paddle. So it's better to go a little shorter, a little wider. At least you can paddle. You're probably gonna use a bigger foil anyways, and that was kind of like the concept behind the dart. It's more user friendly.
Yeah, and also learning, I mean, not just stability, right? Having more width for stability, because it is one of the hardest parts of learning to sup, right? It's like getting up on the board and standing there in the bumps while you're trying to paddle. So stability is super important. Bigger foil is going to make you more stable also. But having something that's easy to control, especially if you're coming from winging or proning and you're on all these short boards. I mean, you remember we talked about it on a previous podcast, right? You showed up, no standard Dylan, no gear, no boards, no nothing. Shows up and we're going to go do a Maliko run. And he's like, Frank, let me get a board. Frank gives him a 9.4 race board. He's never paddled anything bigger than 8 foot, right? And I mean, you're a great foiler, but it feels weird. It feels crazy. I mean, paddling my 9-footer, when I get it up, I'd be like, the difference between that and the 8 was like wild. So, 90% of it is like, yeah, you got to get on foil. But when you get on foil, you got to stay on foil. And if you can't control the board, so that's where probably the surf sup's going to be on a bigger foil. For sure, the easier thing to learn on.
And it's still like it's not like they're still pretty narrow, considering they're not the biggest one. It's I think it's 20 inches wide, so nothing goes over 20.
And that's what 130 liters or something like that.
Yeah. So it's not like 22, 24, 25. So it still has the speed. It's just obviously you can't compare a 7-foot board to an 8-foot board like an 8.4. It's gonna be a little slower, but it all has its its purpose. If you're trying to get into downwinding with the idea of, okay, I'm going to use small foils, then go for just the downwind specific, the Mako, the downwind board. If you're starting, you want to sup in the waves and maybe wing and maybe try to downwind, then the dart is probably good. It's a little more, what's the word? Like you can use it for more versatile. You can use it for different things. You're not like, oh, I'm just gonna downwind for the next year. Like I still want to wing a little bit. I want to travel. I want to go in the waves. It gives you a little broader spectrum of use.
Yeah, like for example, he made me a 7.0 95 liter. It's awesome. But I was gonna say 7.0 95 liter, and it's amazing as a wingboard, as a light wind parawing board. Like I don't feel the length at all. It feels more like it's a 6-footer when I'm up on it. So I think they're really versatile, especially in the small size. It would be a really great like intro, light wind parawing or just learning parawing board, because it builds speed so fast. It's so easy to get up on.
Yeah, even the 90. So because the mini dart goes to 100, so you can compare the 90 and the 100 mini dart to the 90 and 100 dart. And you can, like I tried them at AWSI. There was one morning, it was light, I went out power winging, and even though it's still 90 and 100, obviously with the extra length, the dart makes it so much easier for light wind. So you can still use the mini dart will still work, but if you really want to go effortless, then you go with the dart. But then then you have, instead of a 6-foot board, you have a 7-foot board, and
and the challenges are a little narrower, a little less, less room to kind of maneuver around when you're trying to get from your knees to your feet as a beginner, things like that. So those are the things to look at between the two different shapes. Obviously, the 100 liter, much boxier, shorter, wider.
It'll be more playful once you're out, 'cause it's a smaller board, but obviously it's gonna be a little bit harder than the dart getting up, just because it's a foot shorter. So you can't get away from that.
Is it thicker? Also, the mini dart.
Actually, they're about the same. It's not that much thicker. It might be a little bit, but because of it's a little wider.
Well, it's because you're displacing with length, because it's the same volume, but I went skinnier, but I went longer, so you're able to move the volume around.
So because the 90 dart, it's 7.0 by 18.5, and the 90 mini dart, it's I think it's 6.0 by 20. So it's wider, and that's why they're about the same thickness at the end, because this one's shorter but wider. The other one is longer but narrower. So
and like this 60 liter right now, I mean, over the boxes, it's what, just right at 4 inches, a little under 4 inches thick,
thin,
pretty much.
Just because of the deck honk that we put in. So all the volume is, well, it's not all the volume, but like the thicker part is probably like right here in front of your front foot, and then everything just gets thin in between your feet. And then probably stays the same here, and then it tapers down past your back foot. So it's really responsive. It doesn't feel chunky. And that's why like we went a little wider, where this Parawing, you need more stability, because that Parawing is trying to like knock you off the board the whole time. So you want a little wider for stability, and that turns into less thickness because you're stretching it out. So it'll work out pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the magic, at least. I mean, you've ridden Frank's boards a lot, and not to say there aren't plenty of amazing boards out there, but once you're on foil with them, they're so stiff and responsive, so you feel that connection directly through to your foil, which I think just allows you to feel more in control and more reactive. And then they're so light, they really just allow you to kind of take you to where you feel like you're on a smaller board all the time. I'm always feeling like when I'm on your gear, I feel like I'm on a smaller board than when I get on literally I got on the exact same board, 65 liter versus 60 liter yesterday. Same shape, same dims, different manufacturer yesterday. Takeoff was actually pretty great, pretty similar to yours. It was like easy to get, but once I was up, man, surfing it, I just felt such a difference in how it responded, and that swing weight. It just didn't have that like light surfy feel that even at your 8-foot subs, like the last custom you made me, I had the same feeling, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
What are you talking about? You said you rode the same board, a custom and then non-custom, but the Frank
No,
board,
I'm saying I rode his my 60 liter custom from him, and then another 65 liter sub or Parawing board that was really similar in shape.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to just throw names out there. We're not that kind of show. But anyways, but not two Frank boards. No, I know.
I wanted to clarify that it's not. Yeah.
No. This is
makes sense.
This is the construction. I think that's the interesting thing too, is because like usually there's such a difference between how a shaper is going to make a board in a shop like this versus how a production board is going to be made in a factory in Hong Kong, right? And I think, or wherever, Singapore, doesn't matter. So I think the magic here is that it's the same construction, right? It's the same style. You're not adding a bunch of weight. It still feels the same. And I think, well, that's what we're all hoping the future looks like for these boards, is that, because a lot of times I think you buy these production boards and I mean, if anybody's broke it, you look at it and you're like, man, there's like all kinds of stuff I don't recognize in here that doesn't look like normal construction material or whatever. It's like stiff and hard and cracks easy, or it's heavy. And I think that like, as we evolve, like, of course, like we want to have lighter, stiffer things. And I think that looking to guys like Frank, who are kind of pushing technique and building ways to make these boards perform better, and like applying that to a factory production scale, like that's how the gear gets better, right? And the same thing's happening on foils with layups and everything.
Yeah.
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 Sweet.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
Tell me why there's no inserts on the back and just in the front.
Oh, because
it's for one-legged surfers.
Well, because they already have, their the blast is the wing, the blast, and then I think the hybrids, they both have 2 sets of inserts. So that'll be more like if people want to wing and jump, there's a board that's kind of designed for that. And with the having 2 sets of inserts, you're assuming that people are gonna jump, and then you can get this light of a construction. And you have to like bulk it up for people that are gonna jump. That, like, again, it's not, the pro riders, they can jump a light board because they know how to land, and then you give it to Mr. I go to the beach once a week and they throw a 20-foot jump, and then they land like a sack of potato, and it's gonna buckle the board. Because when you get into jumping territory for production boards, you really have to bulk things up because you don't know who's gonna use it. So we want at least the front foot strap, because a lot of people ride with one foot strap, like winging, or I've seen it Parawing into even SUP. A lot of people use the front strap, so we did that, but we didn't want to add the second strap because then it would have to be like a whole, bulkier construction, and there goes the lightweight. And like you were saying, it's for Parawing is very important to keep the weight down because it makes a big difference when you're up on foil and getting up.
Yeah, and I think definitely for folks who are learning to parawing, I mean, having a board you can put a front strap on definitely is going to help you with front foot stability, being able to pull the nose out of the water and make sure you get out. I know, I think it's just a nice step. Now, we all parawing here. We like having our feet loose because we move around a lot of narrow stance and stuff like that. But I think in that learning stage, having the option to throw a strap on, even if you don't want it long term, can really help you kind of get through the hump of like, I'm getting on foil consistently. I'm getting up because a lot of it's like, this is the magic with Parawing-boards is like, we've got to be able to, and not to say that like the range on the Parawings won't get better in time, they will. But right now it's like, you've got to be able to get up on the same wing that you can comfortably sail upwind in. And so like, if the low end doesn't match the high end of what you need, right, then all of a sudden you just end up getting up. Okay, I had plenty of juice to get up, but now my arms are getting ripped off, or vice versa. Now I'm sitting here in the water and I just can't get off the water. But if I did, I would have the right sail. So like finding that volume, and I think that's something maybe you could kind of touch on is like, what do you think the right volume is? Like, how should you look at your ratio? Because it's not the same as what we would say, this is what you should get on for a wingboard. It's probably a little different.
Oh yeah, because winging, you can work your way out of, light wind. You can pump the wing, and the wing, how you pump a wing, it's always at like 45 degrees angle kind of a thing. So when you're pumping, you're lifting yourself up, and the wing is stiff, and you get feedback from the wing and the board, and that combined, it gets you out of the way, out of like up on foil with light wind. Parawing, I feel like it depends a lot on Parawings. Like I tried the ozones, and those you can feel like once you figure out how to do it, you can pump them a little bit more than others, but still it's not like winging. So you definitely need more volume, at least to start. Like I'm about 90 kilos and I ride 90 liters and it feels fine for me. Like I can stand on it. I can wait for a little gust. And then when the gust comes, I'm ready to go. Then I would probably, the lowest I would go is maybe like take 15 liters, maybe 20, but
yeah, going down to like 80%. So basically whatever literage matching your weight in kilograms is kind of like a good starting place. And if you feel like you're more advanced and you can go smaller, maybe you go to 80% of that or 75% of that. But like, that's probably a good place. Like the board you're making me next is exactly 1 liter per 1 kilogram of my weight. I'm 75 kilograms ish.
So I feel like that was
77.
When first I made a bigger board because I was struggling with the Parawing. I'm like, okay, I don't have patience or time to deal with this. So I'm gonna make,
because he needs to be in the shop making boards for us.
Yeah. I can make all the
Get
toys.
back to work, Frank.
That's right. Get back in there.
It's lacking. But yeah, so I made 90, so 1-to-1 ratio with my weight in kilos, and that was great. And I can stand on it. And then also I was like, oh, it's gonna be winter on Maui. I want to go to Kaha. Kaha is great, but sometimes the wind's a little on and off, and you don't want to be sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for the gust.
Just getting pounded.
So 1-to-1 ratio is good, and I think anywhere between that and like minus 15 liters from this 1-to-1 ratio is pretty good. I mean, there's guys riding 50, 40 liter boards, like they rode it all summer when it's nuking, but I don't know. I like to know that I can get back up 90% of the time. So I'd say 1-to-1. Maybe you can go like 10 liters above your weight on like a longer board. If it's like, let's say if you're gonna ride the Dart, the longer, like the short SUP design, you can get away with 10 extra liters because you have a bigger platform to stand on, and it's easy to stand. But if you're going shorter, maybe don't go much past your weight because then it's gonna get too quirky. But yeah, volume is your friend.
Yeah, I mean, with parawinging in these new mid lengths, it's not a big deal to be bigger. Like I ended up going up in size when I started parawinging, and then I started winging it. I'm like, I don't know if I feel the advantage of being on a smaller board as much, because they surf so well, because they're so narrow and they're your foil can be pushed so far forward like what Walt does, so you don't feel that swing weight as much. So it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm trying
Yeah,
to tell
totally
people,
agree.
I'm
I
like,
think
yes. Well, the trend was like that, right? It's as we start to circle back with the trend of foils now, I think we're going to see it also with the boards, is that we don't need to be on 30-liter boards. Like, I don't know if there's much of an advantage if you can't get up on foil. It's stressful. No one wants to be stressed if they can get up or not. And then you could be on a more volume and still be ripping. I just don't know. I think people need to start thinking about more volume. And I've been pushing my clients to more volume,
Well, and I
and
think
I'm not
too,
worried
like,
about it.
I think if as long as you can stand like in the middle of the board and you don't have a lot of nose and the board is light, what really is holding you back, let's say on the waves, is how wide the board is. So if your 60-liter board is just as wide as your 30-liter board, and you can still do the same turns because you're not gonna hit the rail. But now if your 60-liter board is still 4 foot long and is 30 inches wide, then that's a whole nother thing. It doesn't work. But if as long as the width is somewhat reasonable, even if you have more volume, it's just, yeah, once you're up, you don't really feel it.
Yeah, I think for all of us who've been in the sport for a while, it's the memories of the soap bars that we all were riding is what drove us to be like, oh no, I got to go smaller and smaller and smaller. Because the only way it felt better was to get on like a sinker that got small enough that would get you up, because it was all scaled down, right? Like
Yeah.
you weren't getting long and narrow. And exactly, like if it's narrow, that's your roll, right? And
Yeah.
that's what feels good. So I think it's changing the way you can think about it. And with light construction, I mean, do you really notice if it's stiff, if the boxes are stiff? Are you really noticing an extra inch of thickness, when you're surfing? Probably not, right? So I think that totally, if it makes it easier to get on foil, I mean, just go out there and push yourself, right? Go try some bigger boards and see if they feel good surfing. Because like all these new designs are so well balanced that I'm going to go ahead and bet they probably feel better. Like a 60-liter like this, I know surfs way better than the 40-liter wingboard that was like 21 inches wide or whatever that I was riding 3 years ago, for sure.
When like to go out and be on foil is more fun than to go out and just be sinking, waiting to get up on foil. So
Also, these boards look way cooler. They look like surfboards, right? Like we stopped riding soap bars attached to foils. Now we got surfboards attached to foils. So.
And the touchdown makes, like, if you touch down, you have, you can recover better with the length and everything. So it's a whole. I mean, I still, you still talk to some people like, oh, but it's too long. Like I have them like, hey, try this 90-liter, because I know they ride like 80 to 90 to 100. Like, oh, try this board. Like, oh, how long is it? Oh, 6'4". Ah, that's too long. I'm like, yeah, but your board is 28 inches wide. Like, this is 20. You're gonna rip turns way better. You're gonna touch down way better. But no, it's too long. I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you next year when you
Yeah.
convince yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I get that question in the shop all the time, and I am pushing people to go to these longer, narrower boards because I know they perform better. And I'm telling them, yeah, it's a little bit more narrow, so you lose this lateral stability, but what you gain in performance of the water line and how fast it can get off on foil, you don't need to be sitting there for as long, right? The moment you get a little bit of power in the wing, it takes off a lot faster. And then when you're on foil, I mean, you'll get used to it. I'm like, cool, maybe you'll struggle for 2 days, but then the advantages of having this longer, narrower board, even if, they're coming from an 80-liter and I'm putting them on a 80-liter, and they're like, that doesn't feel like an upgrade. I'm like, it's an upgrade, right? And I think that's where, yeah, like there's nothing wrong with being on a longer board, especially if it's narrower like that. I think people just need to try it a little bit more. And I'm not saying that people aren't trying it. I'm just talking about my customers in the shop and how I am pushing them to this trend because I know it makes a lot more sense and I know it's better. So I assume everyone's getting there, right? And that's where it's going.
Yeah, it's not about the size, it's about the shape and how you use it.
That could be another.
I'm full of bumper stickers today.
Show me your tail. Show me your tail on the board. I want to see the tail of the board.
I'll flip it around.
You're like,
There you go.
should I
You
turn?
can see the tail.
You're like,
you want to see the tail? I don't know.
like, should I turn
Do you have to
around?
change the rating of this episode now that we've shown you the tail?
No, I just want
so-
to. I just remember it being super narrow, like in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, super
Right?
thin at the end.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, because
it's a
that
sick
was like
board.
trying to get the volume out because what you were saying
Because I was annoying about it.
oh well you knew because you were Parawing when I wasn't. It's like then if for winging I feel like it's almost better to have volume on the tail just because you're not really pushing on the board. You're like kind of like sitting there and you just don't want to sink all the way. So you want support on the tail so you can be standing on the foil and then you just pump your wing and then it gets you up.
And you don't have the wings not pulling you down.
Yeah.
Something about the Parawing is like pulling the nose down. It's like your whole weight is shifting and like rotating over the front of the board,
Yeah.
which is driving the nose down. So that's where that like you want the board almost wants to just naturally sit in the water,
Yeah.
slightly elevated.
Yeah, you want to have like nose up, even when you're getting the first little bit of power. You still want that nose to be up, and then when you start working it, it'll get flat and up and up.
Like if your board that you are currently riding right now, you look at it and you're like, man, there's like more volume obviously in the back of the board than there is in the front. It's probably making parawinging harder for you, right? If you feel that, if you're on your board and you're constantly trying to keep the nose up and feeling it diving forward, it's probably just not the right shape for optimizing like the performance for the sport you're trying to do.
And
So
then
can you
everything
guys
helps.
So buy a Frank board.
Yeah, can you guys talk me through how those prototypes went and like what the changes were? Were they small? Were they big? Were you like right on the money on the first prototype?
Yeah, so we went back and forth over the winter. He was super busy with race boards, had like 20, 40, 100 race boards or whatever he had to make for the Kokai races this year. And I continued to bug him about a Parawing board, and I'd been, trying a bunch of stuff with you, Dylan, and we kind of talked about what we thought. So I kind of like gave him some ideas of what I thought would like be the parameters to shift the current board I was using. And he sent me back the first rendering, and then from there we did 3 shapes. And basically the feedback was it was all about moving more volume to the nose and increasing rocker. I don't think a whole lot changed because I think the overall design, we changed the displacement.
Yeah.
It was a little different on the nose
The
too.
first one, I think the first one.
It was pretty close on the first rendering though. It was really close. It was just minor tweaks we made
Yeah,
to make it optimized.
First one was close. I think we needed more volume on the nose, and then we saw that we had room because you're like, oh, I'm standing like 4 inches.
Yeah, we
behind
moved
the-
that hump back exactly.
Okay, well then if we need volume, I can move that back because if you're standing here anyways. And then I think the first one, I made the rocker like really low compared to your mid length that you had, and it was good, but it was a little too low. So then we lifted it up a little bit, and I think we so it was like
We added rocker to the tail too.
yeah, rocker to the tail, changed the tail width a little bit, but mainly it was like trying to find the right balance of like how much volume on the nose do you want, so that it makes a 60-liter board able to like you can pump it on the water and it'll give you feedback instead of just disappear under the water.
Yeah, and the rocker on the tail was super important because what happens is if the tail ends up coming flat off the boxes, if your foil's sitting a third or a quarter of the way up the board, as you release, the back of that tail pushes down and it's almost like an e-brake. So all of a sudden you're pushing down on the tail, you're pushing water back against your direction of flow, which is like slowing down your release and making it more difficult. So like you really want, as you lift the board, the tail transition angles and changes with it. So that way there's a nice clean release.
There's no friction. Like trying to minimize the friction because you don't want too much because then it gets too draggy, but find the right balance. So that is pretty much like minor adjustments. Like the first one was good, but then we're like, oh, it's good, but it could be better. Like let's change this, change that, and then we got it dialed.
And like, we'd had time to try a lot of boards too, right? Like we'd ridden kind of all the market versions, like the KT Super K was out, obviously the Armstrong mid lengths and F1 and the Quiver Killer from Unifoil. Like those were all really great mid lengths. And I think there was like learnings from all of them and it just kind of applied into this board.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out pretty
Yeah,
good.
I tried it in Hood. I tried the 60 liter. I tried an 80 liter at the event site, and I mean, you cannot leave your gear there for a second and someone
Yeah.
steals it. It's horrible. It is stressful. Like it's windy. It's all hectic. You're trying to get your
Yeah.
gear together. You turn around for a second and someone's grabbing it and you're like, hey, that's mine. They're like, wow, wow. So I had an 80 liter for a second and then Kane took it.
Yeah.
I'm holding a grudge. And then the next day I got the 60 liter. I took it on some runs at the hatch and it was beautiful. I really loved it. Like right away I could feel like what you guys were talking about, and what kind of like what the brief was, and it came out beautiful. I was super stoked, and I'm really excited to get them into my shop. I email Evan every third day.
Yeah, it was classic. So Dylan, I let him. I don't know if it was mine or one of these that you rode, 60 liter, same board basically, and classic. I remember you coming in, and I was like, dude, so what did you think? You were like, I don't know, I didn't really like it that much, whatever. I'm like, God, he always does this. He always shuts it down. Like, I think I got it right, and then Dylan doesn't like it, and then like 2 seconds later, he's like, no, dude, that was amazing. That was like one of the best. Like immediately, I could feel such a huge difference from what I was riding. Like, great work. Fucking Frank killed it, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it felt good. I think everybody who gets on, they're just like, oh, this board just performs great, right? It's like anything you're designing, it's give and take. And I think great design is about really recognizing where to give and take to make sure the overall performance is leveled up. And this board definitely does that. I mean, you're leveled up on this board. You're going to surf better. You're going to take off easier. And, construction's great. I'm excited to see how they last long-term in the market, but I mean, I know I beat the crap out of your boards. I'm not easy on gear, and they hold up pretty well. He puts a ton of carbon in the contact points. I think that's one of the things I love about Frank's construction. Is there's like 4 or 5 layers in the tail, 4 or 5 layers in the nose,
4 on the rail,
4 on the rails. So like you can, I mean, I hit my board on a rock like every 3 days probably, and so far no cracks.
Is that the same on the production?
Yeah. That's the one thing because they were making some light boards for another brand, but they're all falling apart. And then I showed him like, oh, well, you gotta put more here, more there. Like you keep it minimal where you don't need much, and then you make sure it's when you carry your board, you're not gonna bend the middle here. You're gonna hit all the corners. So as long as those are covered and the boxes are strong and the rails, everything else can be, lighter. But if you make it everywhere light, then as soon as you put it down on the rack, it's gonna crack, and then it's like, oh.
So don't hit your board on purpose, but it should be okay.
Yeah, I love that about like Walt's board, the custom, because you can see all of that. You can see all of these extra layers everywhere where they're like added. I don't know if you can see that in the production.
Yeah,
obviously
you can see
you can see, especially on the bottom, you can see the layup here and here.
You can see the extra patches here, patches on the tail box.
The stringers here, you got the double stringer, and then the nose, you can see the multiple layers on the nose cone.
Yeah, if it passes the Walt's test, you were showing me like over at Maliko a few days ago. It's like, oh, look at the flex on this mast. He's like, steps on his board like on the rocks. I'm like, oh, you might want to put a board bag under that.
Oh my god!
I was like,
dude.
It's a Frank board. It's fine.
Oh my god!
Everything. I don't know. I feel like everything you put on the board, it has to have a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, then it's excess. So just keep
like
it.
Strap inserts.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I love how that's intentional. You're like, okay, yeah, we can put them in the front, but if I put them on the back, it means that somebody will jump it, and if somebody will jump it, then I need to reinforce this, which reinforces that, which adds more weight. So I think it's beautiful to like your design and how you design boards is that it's intentional that you did not put strap inserts in the back because of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And I'm super stoked that, for you, Frank, like super glad that things are going well. And this Axis thing, the Mako is a Mako. Either or. Whatever.
I believe it's a
whatever, that big long narrow board.
Yeah. No, it's been great to work with Evan and Agent. They've been really supportive, and they appreciate all the the work that I do. I appreciate all the work they do. It's been really good collaboration. So we'll be stoked about it.
Yeah, that's sick. And now we've got this beautiful mid-length that, I mean, great that people can call you and get a custom, and people are still doing that. I talked to a couple people last week that are actually contacting you for a board. I've been talking about them, on the sidelines. I'm not advertising anything, right? Because it's not released yet. When we release this video, it will be. But they're like, you know what? Instead, I'm just going to hit up Frank, and I think that it's great that it's going to be wide distribution, and they can get a board that's this beautiful. Like, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna saying it. I'm having them in my shop, and I just can't wait because I love the board, and I know, and I love to offer my customers the best of the best. That's all we do. And this is, for me right now, it's one of the best of the best.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean the with the downwind boards, that's the biggest thing. Like for me, it was to see how it was. One thing is you get appreciation from like a little group, Maui and Oahu, but then you send the boards to Holland or wherever, and then you get people text you, "Oh, it's like so great! Like it changed my downwind, I changed my foil." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. It's not just me that I like it, like Guido or like Walt or Dylan. It's like it's good to get like that feedback, and then hopefully it'll be the same with these, and so you can wait see what happens."
Another great thing about picking up any of the access boards, not only do I think from a production level construction, they're kind of next level as far as like lightweight performance. I mean, you're basically getting a Frank custom at production. That said, get a Frank custom if you can. They're awesome. It's super fun to work with Frank. He's an amazing shaper. But this comes with a sick board bag, which maybe you should go grab that thing, because I think that's like kind of a huge bonus. Like finding a board bag to fit these weird shapes is always such a pain in the butt. And man, this is like literally one of the nicest board bags I've ever seen. So
it's pretty much like a travel bag.
If he turns his head, I'm walking out with this thing.
It's pretty much a travel bag. So you can
and
travel
it
with
comes
this,
with
got
these,
little
like-
extra bags.
And it comes with these sweet little nose cones on them as well,
Well,
just
I don't
like the
have them here,
subboards,
but
right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
have the little nose, extra nose and tail cones. You can put them in, and I mean, I traveled with my the A4 production board. I use it a bunch on Oahu. I would travel like in their island with just this bag, and it's just fine. They're nice.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's not a daylight bag. It's like a 10 mil padding. They're nice. So
yeah, so I mean that's if you go buy that bag straight up, I have a board bag similar. You're talking about $250, probably $200 to buy a bag of this quality. And it just comes with the board, so definitely an added bonus for picking up these access boards.
And like all the just we put the long boxes. So
long boxes are compatible with
boxes,
things.
You have a lot of room to play with different brands, but obviously because I ride access foils, so if you get it roughly goes in the middle with the access foils, pretty much all of them. Like I've been riding the V2s, our V2s, Parawing mostly. After you try these bad boys,
Tempo, baby.
Yeah, those are
It's pretty sick.
This is insane. This is a super secret sauce right here.
It's a secret.
You can't even see us. You have to blur that out, Dylan.
No, that's not true. They already released it.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, so it's all it works with all kinds of brands, but if you get the access foils, it's gonna be roughly in the middle. It's obviously it's the foils I ride, so whenever I try the boards, that's kind of where I place my boxes based off. So but there's still plenty of room for everything.
Well, and because these boards are so incredibly versatile, right? Like you can be using this as a wing board, you could be using this as a prone board, or you could be using this as a parawing. Like you may want to slide your foil to different positions. Like I definitely have realized that like my placement for parawing has to be further back than it would be for either other discipline. Whereas like I can push it forward if I were proning this board or if I were winging it. So yeah, it's just cool to have the long tracks, just keep that versatile. There's nothing more frustrating when you're like, maybe you don't even need to move your mast forward or backward, but when you get to the end of the tracks and you don't have anywhere to go, you're like, oh, is this thing not working right because I can't move it? Or, maybe it is the right spot, but because you couldn't go past to find out if it was the wrong spot, like you never know.
There's no way that there's not enough tracks on that board.
No, it's like a
there's
half
no
the
way
board is
I'd ride it
tracks.
all the way forward. Like it's impossible.
Yeah, you
Like,
just
there's
gotta.
no way-
Well,
and
this is a shorter one too, though, right? This is one of the smaller sizes. This is more reasonable in the larger boards to have this long of tracks for sure. But
What's the depth on those tracks? Do you know? Like, are we
depth of the
using
tracks?
30 mil?
Oh, 30
bolts?
mil. You can use the long screws, 30
fine.
mils.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we don't talk about the shorties.
those two boards I made for Walt. I was still using like shorter boxes, and yeah, I got away from it. That was too much, too complicated.
Yeah, for people like Roy out there who just when they hit a wall, they just punch right through it. So when they tighten that screw and it stops, they just punch right through. Yeah, that's why you gotta have the 30 mil tracks.
So yeah,
I've never done that before, but that would suck.
yeah.
Didn't Roy
Well, it's
did
hard
that
to tell. They're
that custom you
plastic,
made him?
dude.
He cranked one until it broke, and then he was like, "Huh," and then he cranked the next one until he broke the other track. He punctured both tracks.
Yeah, it was like a week after they got here, brand new board, use it for a week. But those are Chinook boxes. Those are different because the slot, it's like really close to the bottom of the box, and it's fine with 30 mil screws, but because he was using the no limits mask where the plate's like
Super thin.
it's like 1 millimeter thinner than all the other plates. Yeah, he thought it was good to just crank it all the way and crack the whole bottom of the box. But no more. These boxes, you got plenty of room for all kinds.
Dude, Roy just breaks things. That's what he's good at.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick, boys. You want to add anything? Or what do you think? I think we got some good stuff here.
No, we should go send it because it's windy and I gotta fly out tomorrow morning. So I want to go hit Kara, or maybe a downwinder. We'll see. See what I can get Frank out of the shop to do.
I got 4 boards
so-
downstairs waiting for me, so I don't know, but we'll see. I might as well keep slacking one more day.
Yeah, he's been slacking pretty good since I got here. So
Whose 60-liter board is that?
this one
Yeah.
could be yours, Dylan. Could be yours, buddy.
This is just the one I could put my hands on and bring it here on Maui.
He's been using it, like demoing it a bunch. Like John McCabe was riding it yesterday, checking it out. Like this one and his 90, I've seen at the beach a bunch. People trying stuff out. So everybody wants to kind of feel these
All right.
boards out, so they kind of get passed around.
All right. So it sounds useful that you keep it in Maui. No problem. I'll just keep on emailing Evan every second day.
Every second day. Or maybe if I get a couple more boards built, then maybe we can send this over.
Yeah.
Just
just
an early one.
I've been in touch with them because I just sold 110 Mako to somebody. It was their last one. So people are still stoked on those boards.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't sell SUPs anymore.
That's why we got Parawing boards now.
Dude, SUPs are
Bye-bye
alive and well
paddle.
here in Maui, though. You know, like definitely
I
still
know.
see. You know, it's not like everywhere else where Parawing's kind of taken over. Like the SUP still is the dominant downwind vessel here.
No, for
The-
sure.
All the Oahu crew, they still. I feel like here a few guys that Parawing a little more, but there's still. I mean, we went downwinding the other day. Most people still go with the SUP because they just like how they got used to that's all they do, and a lot of us are still already thinking for next season, like the
Yeah,
races,
racing.
so trying to stay on track and don't get too lazy. But
Well, and that's kind of the thing too, right? It's like I don't know, you're never gonna have the downwind racing work out without some like weird rules with a Parawing, right? Because if you have a sail in your hand, it's a tool. People are gonna use that tool to go faster. So it's like downwind racing until we create some rule where like you can only use your Parawing once, and it becomes this contrived race rules that like it's got to be on a SUP, right? You got to be able to paddle up and go. Also, the paddle out at Maliko is very annoying on on a 60-liter. You're just like, you guys are out there like 30 meters past the break, and I'm
Yeah.
still like at the dock, still paddling.
You can see the difference too. Like if you just get a shorter SUP, like you'd be left behind. Like you're paddling just as quick as the other ones. You just get left behind, even the SUP if it's a shorter one. But I think that sounds like the Parawinging will be a thing for the next races. At least that's kind of what they were talking about. But I would think,
Like its own category, or
yeah, I mean, they did it last minute this year. They added in, but I feel like they'll probably do like a whole division. But it most likely will be like they're gonna count on you using the Parawing like all the time, like a
That's what I'm saying,
wing.
like a wing race. So then
Yeah.
people are going to be going out there with a 6 meter
And then
just
they'll leave it up
nuking
to
down
you.
Rin. Exactly.
They'll leave it up to you. Oh, if you think you're faster, just stowing it away and take the SUP line, then sure, go to town. But keep in mind that we're not saying, oh, you can't use it. Like, we're saying you use it, and then if you think you're faster,
Whatever
not
gets you
using
to
it,
finish
yeah.
faster. It's how it has to be, right? But it's
You know-
less pure that
you know what
way.
I think?
It kind of changes the nature of the race.
You know what
yeah.
I think it should be like is that they have like a set buoy somewhere else, and you can parawing to it, but then when you hit that buoy to the next buoy, it has to be stowed, and then you can redeploy again. But you have to like maybe there's like an angular thing to it because there's a sailing aspect to it. But between a certain section, you've got to be stowed, and then you've got to redeploy, and then you can sail again. That'd be
Yeah.
sick.
I think there's some super cool potential. Alon had a cool idea for like a parawing downwind race kind of thing where it was like a circuit. Same kind of idea where you would, you could between on the upwind you could use it, but as soon as you turn the buoy, it had to be stashed and down between point A and point B, and then when you turn the next buoy, like you can't deploy it until you've made the turn on the next buoy. Whatever. Just I think there's all kinds of
stuff
cool
like that would be
potential for there to
sick.
be like awesome platforms for racing, but we're gonna need some rules. If not, somebody's just gonna throw up a 7 meter parawing and fucking blast all the way, Maui to Molokai, right? So exactly, dude. I mean, that's gonna be the fastest way is just smoke it,
Get a custom
I know.
10-meter
I don't
Parawing
think
and
it-
just hang on.
It makes less
Dylan's just
sense
gonna
to me
take an
like
ozone
that.
kite out there.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's the same shit. Yeah.
All right, Frank, been awesome. Anything else, Dylan?
Nope.
Thumbs up.
Just letting everybody
Thumbs up.
know
Awesome
that
board.
I'm gonna awesome board. I'm gonna start bringing out the paddle a little bit more. I'm interested in the surf sup to see how that is.
He says that he's
No,
not
I
gonna
am.
bring
I'm
up the
bringing it
paddle.
out, dude. We haven't had wind here in like a week and a half. I'm just
That's
like,
good for
well,
SUP.
I haven't been feeling well, but it's just foil drive, and then these other guys have been doing sup downwinders, but you can't even fly a parawing in this. But there is some swell in the water, so paddles up, thumbs up. Parawing's the future. Get your foil gear from Kite Puerto Rico and N1 Surf Shop. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Frankie.
The
Thanks,
official
Walt. Hold it down
sponsor.
in Maui for us. See you guys later.
Later, boys.